Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurame Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Ganganapate Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarva Mangala Mangale Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanitrambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamritat Om Namah Shivaya 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 Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Om Gunatita Vaksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamaha Jano Janandidam Satyam Uchate Bhava Bandhanat Om Shri Swami Narayana Namaha Shri Shri Swami Narayana Namaha Shri Aksharaya Namaha Om Shri Parabrahmane Namaha Om Shri Lakshmi Narayana Namaha Om Shri Narayana Namaha Om Shri Krishna Narayana Namaha Om Shri Vasudev Narayana Namaha Om Shri Badri Narayana Namaha Om Shri Satya Narayana Namaha Om Shri Shiva Narayana Namaha Om Shri Rama Narayana Namaha Om Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 22nd of January 2023. I would like to offer my prostrations to all the great sages, past, present, future, and to the one and supreme singular Parabrahma Paramatma residing everywhere at all times and in the heart of all beings. With that prarthana, we are continuing our exploration of Swapna Avastha. Swapna Avastha is the dream state that we all experience. It is in our day-to-day life experience in the 24-hour cycle. And this is a great mystery because there is a whole world created in the dream at nighttime. The ancient rishis from thousands of years back, all the way to all the current neuroscientists and everybody else in between, has tried to understand this, but no one has actually come to the bottom of what it really is. The only exception would be a Gunatit saint. One who has gone beyond Maya would exactly know what it is. We are very much caught in the Swapna Avastha. So to try to understand the Swapna Avastha even better, today I want to present just a few aspects of it that we have not perhaps talked about before. And that has to do with the content of the experience itself. Think of it this way. Just like in the waking state, we see this world around us. We see people and trees and mountains and all that, and cars and roads and everything. This is a experience for the Atma. The whole outside world, the universe outside, the galaxies outside, everything is revolving around the Atma. Even the chakras are revolving around the Atma. The nadis, the chakras, everything is Atma. Atma is achal, unmoving. Even though sometimes, people have out-of-body experience, they say that they're going out of the body or they're going here, going there. All of those things are there, but those are experiences for the Atma, given to the Atma. The Atma isn't going anywhere or coming anywhere or doing anything in that sense. There's no coming or going, there's no birth or death. There is, because of the causal body, there is experience upon experience. It's called, in Sanskrit, it is called bhava. Bhava means that you are experiencing worlds. The worlds are experienced. New worlds are experienced again and again. Sometimes the worlds in the Svargaloka with different bodies. Atma can take on many different bodies. So similarly, at nighttime from where we are in our human frame, we have a world that is generated at nighttime. It's a three-dimensional hallucination, basically. 90% of it is hallucination. No different from a psychiatric disorder. As somebody who has a severe delusional or schizophrenic episode, they are hallucinating. It's exactly the same thing as the dream state, but it's happening during the waking time. And there's a problem neurologically, psychiatrically, traumas, and whatever the reason is. So the normal cycle is been disrupted and new realities are popping up inside the mind. Even a disorder like schizophrenia, many psychiatrists believe that is actually due to the individual having access to different dimensions of reality that are usually shut off from the brain. So people start hearing voices, they start seeing things that are not there. One of the theories is that not because they're crazy, because their mind is now more open to see those things. That's why. You see, so it's a good thing we don't see all that stuff, because, see, reality is being filtered by the mind. Whatever is outside, we don't know. We only know certain sliver of what is outside. And that is Maya. Maya is preventing us from seeing the full reality. If we were to see the full reality, we wouldn't be able to live in this world. We wouldn't even have this body. We would be the Brahman only. The full reality is infinite. Satyam Anantam Brahma. So if the mind opens, I'll give you an example. There's something called Akshi Vidya and Dhar Vidya. These are certain types of meditational states that are also referenced in Vachanamrut, and they're in the Upanishads. Akshi Vidya is a type of meditation with the eyes where one is able to see beyond this physical space. Think about that. This physical space is Bhautik Akash. There's another Akash called Chidakash. So once you are evolved in meditation, through the eyes also, not seeing this world, you see series of worlds all the way up to Chidakash through the Akshi Vidya. Now somebody might say that sounds like schizophrenia. That sounds like a delusion and hallucination. That's why one has to be very careful about all this Samadhi stuff. Nirvikalpa Samadhi and these esoteric meditation states. You cannot really distinguish between serious psychiatric disorders and these Samadhi states. So it is better not to try to go into those Samadhi states. That's the whole point. The point is to live in this world in the most ordinary, simple, straightforward manner, without any kind of energy disturbance. Because if we try to play around with the mechanism of the brain, you could wind up damaging the brain also. I mean, you don't know what happens in the brain of Ramakrishna Paramahansa or somebody. Was there brain damage? Nobody knows that. Even someone like Einstein, they have dissected his brain to find out why his brain is different in many ways. Was he having some type of a disorder? Was it some evolved state? We don't know. It's unknown. So rather than playing around with all of those kinds of extreme sadhanas, which people have done extreme things in spirituality, including taking drugs of all kinds to try to open the door into higher consciousness. A lot of history is there, from Native American tradition to the Shiv devotees. I wouldn't call them really devotees, but they are Shiv sadhakas. They take Namah Shivaya mantra and other kinds of Rudra mantras, and they will take drugs. They'll take heroin and morphine and whatnot. And then they will try to open the door out of the Sahasrara Chakra into Samadhi. These kinds of attempts are there. People have experimented with LSD, quite a bit of experimentation. Even they do it today. And there's a lot of research on that too. So they open a different dimension. So this thing about Nirvikalpa Samadhi, it's interesting. In the Sanatana Dharma, there is a lot of emphasis on Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that, you go through the eightfold process. See, Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. But what is that Samadhi? So there are different kinds of Samadhi also. In that Nirvikalpa Samadhi, this world disappears. Some new, different world appears. Different dham appear. Different realities open up. But if that happens, you don't know if you're going to wind up having brain damage or not. You see, so because you're not in this world anymore, you're like a psychiatric serious patient, basically, if you wind up in the highest of consciousness. So that is not advisable to do any of those kinds of things. You see, so what is advisable is Jnana Samadhi. That's what Shankaracharya ji is really talking about. Vachanamrut talks about that. Those extreme kinds of things, extreme meditations and all that. What they do, they prevent an individual from living in this world. They open up perhaps mystical dimensions. And what do you get from that? You cannot live in this world or the next world. You see, so this is the problem. And so these kinds of problems are not even discussed in most of the literature. But this kind of phenomena is discussed. If you really probe into the scriptures and go into the teachings of the gurus and how they have lived, you'll find that this is true. Even the very evolved beings, they wind up living in the ordinary sansar as ordinary people. You have to do that. You cannot escape from this world. This is why the Shaiva Tantra tradition, the tradition of Kashmiri Shaivism, is of so much relevance. It is taken Advaita and put it into a new light, that you're not to reject this world. If you reject this world, how you will live in this world? You have a body and you're rejecting the world? How foolish is that? It is, this world is not to be rejected. It is to be understood, and the experience is to be decided what experience we want to have. That is Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti is not, leaving the body and committing suicide. That kind of craziness is not spirituality. Body is not given by God so that we can just destroy it. Mind is not given so that you can just, no, that's not the case. You see, so this is very interesting. The Nirvikalpa Samadhi means that there is no experience except the one Brahman. Maybe there is such a thing when you leave the body and you go into that, it's called Brahma Shushupti, etc. And then once you go into that, there's no you left, and then that's the end of it. You see, but the fact is, rather than aiming for those kinds of things, living in this world with extreme harmony, steadiness, and Gnan Samadhi. It's called Gnan Pralay. You're living in the world, but you are not in the world. You're living in it, but you are so harmonized. Experiences are going on, but there's no pulling of raga, dvesha, aham, mamatva. None of that is going on. This is the real spirituality. I can show you reference upon reference from multiple places where this is actually spirituality, not that Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which people think it is. They try, people do extreme mantras and to try to open those doorways, and they do get mystical experience. Yes, you can get that, but then what? And you're not here anymore, nor you're there anymore. You're stuck in between somewhere. And that's a problem. There's a lot of people on the spiritual side, they may have gurus and all that, they're stuck in the middle. I have met them actually. They cannot go up, they cannot go down. You see, so that is not advisable at all in spirituality, to get stuck in the middle somewhere. To prevent getting stuck in the middle, this is why we live in this world based on the conditions and the function of this world, but we live in it in a way without entanglement. If anybody tries to escape this world, they're going to create damage to their body, to their mind, to their God knows what. They'll create damage. You cannot escape this world. You cannot escape the Brahmand by trying to go into that samadhi. You go into that kind of samadhi, you'll not be able to survive and function here, nor function over there, and you'll be stuck somewhere in the middle. This body cannot be maintained properly also. And then the body is seen as like an enemy and all. So many serious problems are there. So body is not anybody's enemy. In fact, desire is not your enemy. Desire has to be transmuted. इसका परिवर्तन होना चाहिए. Desire is given by Paramatma for transformation. You see, so rejecting this world is a mistake. Anybody who tries to reject this world, it either as a philosophy or as a sadhana, what they're doing, they're basically trying to escape from this world, and many have tried that. And what have they gotten? Serious problems, nothing else. You cannot get anything that way. That is not a way of living even in this world. You cannot live in this world, cannot realize anything that way. And then what happens? Then one winds up in extreme kinds of beliefs, extreme things. I'll give you, for example, in Jainism, there's an extreme belief of the certain groups, I don't think they're there now, but they will only pluck the fruit. They will not even pluck the fruit from the tree, because that will cause pain to the tree. So they say that they will only eat the fruit that has fallen from the tree. This is a form of extremism. Now, they have tried that. Does that mean by doing that you're going to realize the Atma? Absolutely not. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that following these extreme things like this, that you will realize the Atma. And then on the other side, hinsa, people who are just interested in eating anything that moves, anything that is also not a way. You see, so that is lots of vasanas. You can see the range. You can see the extremities. On one hand, you have people eating all kinds of things without any discrimination. They have something is alive, they'll kill it and eat it, and that's it. And then on the other extreme, you have the Jainas, certain groups I don't think they're there now, but they may have been, they might still be there, I doubt it. And they will not break a leaf. They will not cut a plant. They will not cut a vegetable. They will only eat that which is fallen from the tree. That's it. If it's a vegetable that's fallen down on the ground, they'll take that. Because if you pluck the vegetable, what you will have is that you'll be causing pain to that tree. And is that true? Yes, that is also true. Because the plants also they have an experience. It's a minimal amount of, very tiny amount of pain, but it's not like our kind of pain, So that is ahimsa taken to an extreme level. You see? So people have taken things to extreme levels, and that does not lead to spiritual realization. There are certain sadhus that are roaming around naked. Does that mean that you're going to realize God if you're roaming around naked? It's the most foolish thing, actually. Simply because they're trying to copy Mahavir Swami. You cannot reach enlightenment by copying somebody. Mahavir Swami left his clothes because his kundalini was awakened to such an extent that putting on any clothes would cause obstruction in his sadhana. So he had to leave all of his clothes. That is because the heat was so intense inside his. There's some reasons behind that. The people have tried to copy these things over the years to create that. Nobody can realize God by copying somebody. It's not like a factory, that you sort of generate these copies like this, or like a Xerox machine. That's not the way enlightenment works. Enlightenment is your own realization. It's not copying somebody else. Somebody else's realization is their own. You can learn some things, gain some good insights, but the path is your own. You cannot follow another's path. In fact, in the Gita, this is written. These things Sachin is not making up. Bhagavan Krishna says, to follow another's path is dangerous. Follow your own path. Bhagavad Gita says this. You cannot follow somebody else's path. You have to discover what is your path. And in that discovery, this question of Swapna Avastha is of most relevance. This is our experience. Sachin has his experience in Swapna Avastha. Is it true or not? Absolutely, it is true. Who is it that is responsible for discovering the mysteries of Swapna Avastha? Sachin is responsible. This is my Avastha. I have to find out what the heck is going on. What is it that I have to do? What is this Avastha all about? How are the experiences generated? And what is the role of sadhana and bhakti and spirituality in purifying that Avastha? This Sachin has to do himself. I can learn from others. Yes, we can do research on it also, external research. Yes, fine. Very good. Very nice to know all those things. The different stages of sleep and the EEG readings and the psychological research behind it. Yes, beautiful. But who is it that is going to realize what is Swapna Aparoksha Anubhuti, Shankaracharya ji is saying? There's nobody else. You have to see it yourself. Like when we go to sleep at nighttime, there's a transition into the dream state because there's a drop of the energy from the eyes, from the level of the Agnya Chakra, this area, to the level of the throat. It's a drop in energy. The energies drop. And then all of the content which is programmed inside the mind, it begins to show up, and it's all put together into different stories and experiences, and that thing shows up as Swapna Avastha. Is that really necessary? Most neurological theories will say that yes, you have to dream. If you don't dream, you'll go mad. They have done so many kinds of controlled studies of sleep deprivation. They deprive people of sleep. And when they deprive people of sleep, what happens? They cannot function. Their brain cannot function adequately. So yes, sleep is required, but the quality of sleep changes when we start doing sadhana. When we are connecting with Bhagavan, our dreaming changes. The Swapna Avastha changes, and there is a very beautiful state of experience at nighttime that is a much more evolved experience. And so it is by the grace of God that one reaches the Gunatit state, not by extreme sadhanas. People have to, here's another example. Psychiatric medication to go to sleep. People take sometimes lots of medicines because they are fine. You can take them if you need that. But it's another escape only. It's, to a large extent, if you are more aware in the daytime of how energies are flowing, cleaning up the Jagrata Avastha, and then the Swapna Avastha will clean up. If there are conflicts and problems and tensions and worries and fears in our day-to-day life, those things are going to cause a chaotic Swapna Avastha. You see, so that's where even something like alcohol, illegal drugs, gambling, hypersexuality, all of these things are escapes. And for so many people, unfortunately, quote, religion and spirituality become like a drug. It's another escape. So that's not what it's for. It's not supposed to be a drug as an escape from your day-to-day life. It is to enhance the realization of how to come out of the difficulties in the Jagrata Avastha. Mandir or spiritual organizations or whatever it might be, it is not an escape. Even sadhana is not an escape. If it becomes an escape, one winds up in the oscillation problem. One oscillates between spiritual, quote, psycho-spiritual sadhana on one side, and then Vishaya Bhog and the worries and tensions on the other side. As an escape, which is then where spirituality, religion, meditation is used as a drug. That is not the actual thing, actually. That is just a psychological escape only. You see? So, for example, let's say you take Namah Shivaya mantra. Somebody's having lots of difficulties in life, so just try doing the mantra. Yes, the mantra will create an escape, but that mantra will also bring about certain wisdom to say, let's look at what's going on in life and resolve it right now. To resolve it through jnana, through vision, and to detach from that. This is the internal evolution. So the mantras and other things are aids to the internal evolution in the freedom of Jagrata and Sapna Sushupti Avastha, not as an escape. If it's an escape, it's a reaction, then this is why people don't realize God. Why is it that most of the people in this world are still stuck in the same problems and difficulties, even if they're doing spiritual practice? They're doing spiritual practice because they're doing it without directly seeing the ajnana, the ignorance that is there, to directly perceive it and to throw it away and to de-identify with it. And that only you can do. One has to see one's own ignorance. One has to see one's own bondages. Meditatively, silently. We are sometimes so interested in what others are thinking of us, how we are seeing other people. We're not seeing ourselves actually. And that is why the body and the mind and these experiences of life are given. They're not given to get more and more lost inside Maya. They're given to float on the ocean of relative existence. This is relative existence, and we are going to float on that, like a ship that floats on the ocean, on the water of the ocean, but doesn't sink into the ocean. It's like that our life can float on the ocean of consciousness, on the ocean of Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha. And the Swapna Avastha is a massive, massive prison. This is my perspective. Sachin's perspective. Massive jail. It is a jail like none other. Nobody knows how to get out of that thing. And so the steps actually shown by all the great sages is to bring great stability in the waking state. Bring in jnanam. Jnanam means what? Pure awareness, pure wisdom of what is bandhan, what is liberated living, what is entanglement, what is freely living, what is energy damage, what is not energy damage. This is all viveka. This Vivek Chudamani and all that is written in the waking state. It is in the Jagrata Avastha that the viveka can come about. How much to eat, what not to eat. How much to talk, what not to talk. What to hear, what not to hear. What to see, what not to see. How much interaction to have with friends and relatives, how much not to have with them. How much interaction to have with co-workers, how much not to have with them. Everywhere the viveka is needed. Viveka is that line between what ought to be done, what ought not to be done, between what is real and unreal ultimately. That is, from the Vedanta point of view, what is real, unreal. But this viveka is necessary in every turn of life. How fast to drive the car, whether to overtake someone or not. Small, small decisions like that. How to use time. This is in the waking state. So all of this knowledge, this wisdom of what to do in this human body, with this human body while we are awake, that is viveka. And that is what Vivek Chudamani is showing us. Vivek Chudamani is for every human being to awaken in the waking state. Jagrat avastha mein jagruti lani hai. Then, if that happens so beautifully, when it happens, the Swapna Avastha will be just a beautiful state. It'll be restful, and whatever dreams come, they will be very, very pure dreams, Shuddha Swapna, and it'll be divine dream. In Upasana of Paramatma, when we're worshipping Bhagavan, the Upasana of Bhagavan, then Bhagavan, meaning God, by Krupa, by grace, comes to us in Swapna Avastha based on our thinking conceptualization. Even Tulsidas Ji and so many others have said, God will initially come to you based on the way you are worshipping God. In the Gita, Sri Krishna is saying that I will stabilize the faith of the devotee on whichever way, whichever form that person is aiming to worship. I will stabilize his faith there. That could be any tradition. It could be a Christian tradition, Muslim tradition, Hindu tradition, different Ishta Devatas, different Devis, different whatever it is, different gurus, etc. So that stability of that faith in that particular approach, particular form, is a doorway back into the Atma. And Sri Krishna says, by my grace, by my will, I will stabilize that person's path. How beautiful this is. So is it true that waking state remains? Sure, it does. But Maharaj has stated, Shriji Maharaj in Vedaras, he said, Jagratma Shushupti Jau Vartai. What does that mean? That means one is completely, absolutely harmoniously in equilibrium. Like in Shushupti Avastha, there's no experience. So in Jagrat Avastha, there is experience, but it is experience without getting at all disturbed in the experience as like in Shushupti Avastha. What a statement. See, so Sajanand Swami Maharaj has emphasized Jnana Samadhi, not Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is, in my opinion, I would even say dangerous, actually. It is not worth going in that direction to try to do those things, to see what is beyond the mind. You try to do that, and you may not be able to come back into this world. Not only that, there's all kinds of difficulties in that. To stay away from that kind of samadhi, not to even aim for that, because that is very seriously problematic. You see, so Jnana Samadhi is better, and asking God to reveal Himself. Bhagwan ki Krupa say He will take you and show you the different abodes and all that. No problem. You don't have to worry about it. Let me ask you a question. If you get on an airplane, what if the plane begins to take off? Plane is now in the air. And the pilot and the co-pilot say, they come and sit next to you and they say, you know what, now you fly the plane. We're done. We're retired. We're taking permanent retirement right now. The plane is cruising at 30,000 feet. You've gone to that state. And the pilot said, we are done. हम retirement ले लेते at 30,000 feet. आपका whatever happens to you. Whatever happens to us. Hari Om. This is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is what happens in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. You don't have anybody to take you to land the plane anywhere. God knows which buttons you push and you crash back into God knows what trouble comes. That has happened to so many people who have touched Nirvikalpa Samadhi and have crashed from there. So many examples are there. It's countless. That is a wrong path. So that thing of Nirvikalpa Samadhi through Ashtanga Yoga is, to some extent it is okay, but it is very, very dangerous. This Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Jnana Samadhi is much, much better. Meaning what? Very simple. That when we're keeping ourselves harmonized and balanced, keeping the Lord, keeping Bhagwan, Upasana in front of us. That, oh Lord, I am nothing in front of you. You are the one who is going to take care of me. In Vachanamrut, this is mentioned so beautifully. Maharaj has distinguished between what is called Atmanishta and Swarupnishta. Here's an example to explain this. Maybe somebody can cross the English Channel, by swimming across. Maybe you can cross a river, but you cannot cross the ocean by swimming across. You cannot go from, New York, all the way to London, England, by swimming there. You will not be able to swim. Maybe some people have tried and all that. But that's a different matter. Upasna rupi vahandma besi jau in Gujarati. See this point. Bhagwan ki sharan. Bhagwan ka ashray. Bhagwan no ashray. Bhagwan ni sharanagati. Bhagwan ni upasna. He says, oh Parabrahma Paramatma Ishta, you take care of me. I don't know anything about this Samadhi, kuch malum nahi. I don't know anything that is outside this world, the different chakras and so many things we may have studied, but we could get stuck somewhere in between. And having half knowledge is even worse. Someone sitting in that plane, knows a little bit about how to fly, but not completely. What will be the situation? And it's a 747 jumbo jet. My God, he cannot make heads or tails of the buttons over there. It's like that. That is why Sadguru, Satpurush and Parabrahma Paramatma Narayan, Bhagwan jo hai, they are the ones who are going to take the Jivatma into moksha. The Jivatma tries to go into moksha by itself, is going to face all kinds of obstructions and will eventually get damaged inside this life, into the next life, and all kinds of difficulty happens. It's like that rocket ship that takes off, and then there's a problem, the pilot doesn't know what to do at a certain point, and then he crashes that ship. It's like that. So the most straightforward, and in fact the only real way, is Bhagwan ki upasana. Bhagwan takes you out of Maya. Bhagwan takes you into that highest level of state of realization. He takes you. You don't have to worry about it. If you know that the pilot and the co-pilot are well trained, you have to just purchase the ticket and then go sit in the plane and have your peanuts and have your Coke and soda and whatever it is and watch a sign. You have to just sit in there because you have faith that they're going to take you to the right destination. They're not going to crash the plane. This is called Upasna Rupi Varnma Besijo. Varn means boat. You sit in the boat, the captain of the boat is Bhagwan and Guru. They have the power to take us outside of Maya. This is the thing, because nobody can cross these disturbances like that. And you try, sadhana is done. But remember, sadhana doesn't take one to God. Sadhana is a preparation for Krupa only. Sadhana cannot take one to God. Sadhana is a misunderstanding. Sadhana needs to be done so that Bhagwan ki Krupa aisi hoti hai, that okay, I'll remove the Maya because you want the Maya removed. You put your 100% effort. I will remove. It's like the ant trying to push an elephant. The ant cannot push the elephant, but the elephant says, okay, the ant really wants me to move. I'll move out of the way. It's like that. Devi esha gunamai mama maya duratya mam eve prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Whose Maya is it? God's Maya. Can we cross it by our efforts? No, absolutely not. Not under any circumstances. In Swaminarayan Satsang, it is said very clearly, sadhan sarve shushuptima leen thai jai. So all sadhanas get merged into Mahashushupti, Mahashunya. They don't take one anywhere. Because they have a certain limitation. Sadhana is done for prasannata, Bhagvat prasannata. God says, okay, no problem. You really want to come to me? I'll remove all the obstruction from you, no problem. It's like that. You see? So that is the beauty. So when we consider Swapna Avastha, to be free in Swapna Avastha, that is also Krupa. Ye Bhagwan ki Krupa se hota hai. That you are awake in Swapna Avastha, not entangled in Swapna Avastha. What a state of living that is. So then one looks forward to diving into Swapna Avastha and continues bhajan, kirtan, prarthana, and by the grace of God, the different dimension opens up. But you are not disturbed. But other things open up, things happen. You are always at the feet of God as a child. as a small child, as a small stone at the feet of God. That bhavana, that I am just at your feet, the ego doesn't have any place. The human ego is such, it is also trying to grasp the Brahman. It cannot grasp the Brahman. It's a totally foolish idea. There are so many who have fallen deeply into Maya by misinterpreting Advaita Vedanta, where their ahankar has taken hold of Brahma Vidya. Aham Brahmasmi, I am everything, I am the God, I am everything, I am everything. This kind of foolish things are there. And that is their ego only, and there's nothing else. So the ego has to go, then that I, Aham Brahmasmi, the Atma that is me, yes, that shows up. Not this human limited ego with all of its problems and its entanglements and its strength, ego strength. Ego strength is good to some extent. Beyond that, it doesn't have any place. The ego has to be given over to Bhagwan. This is Bhakti Marg. Somebody will say, well, what if you don't have Bhakti Marg? If you're a Gnani, like pure Gnani, there's no Bhakti, kuch nahi. Go ahead and try, see what happens, see if you can get out of the ego. In Swamini Vato, Gunatitanand Swami mentioned this, and I'll mention this today and we'll close in just a moment. Gunatitanand Swami said in Gujarati, Potani mele Maya mathi nikalva mate prayatna kare, to vadhare bandhaye. પણ ભગવાન અને સંતનો આશરો લે તો કોઈ વિઘ્ન વગર માયામાંથી નીકળી શકાય. Meaning what? You try to get out of Maya by your own efforts without the support of God, without going to the feet of the Lord or great saints. You will get more bound. Obviously. Think of the plane example. You're sitting in the 747, Now you're in the cockpit, the pilot and the co-pilot have gone into Samadhi, let's say. They're done. They said, we are leaving this body. You guys do whatever you want to do. We're done. We're taking permanent retirement. You're on the phone. Maybe you found a link to the, to the FAA or whatever. They're guiding you. You don't know which. There's 500 buttons over there. You try to push. You can't make heads or tails. You try to come out. You try to land the plane and you'll get more bound. You might take the plane up further. Take it in a different direction. Flip it around. Who the heck knows what you will do? Because you're trying to do it by yourself without having the proper instruction, gnan, understanding of anything. That is why Sat Shastra, we talked about satsang yesterday. The 5 aspects of satsang are necessary so that our plane, this body, mind, and everything reaches its destination. The Atma reaches the Paramatma with the aid, help, and Krupa of Parabrahma, Paramatma, and the great saints. Another way to put this in Swamini Vato, Gunatitanand Swami mentioned beautifully. He said, Mokshana data Bhagwan ane sant beche, meaning the giver of moksha. We want moksha, we want mukti, we want out of Maya and Agnan. Somebody has to give us the stamp of approval. Okay, we're taking you out. If somebody goes to university, and knows the subject matter so well, but the professor has to give you the stamp of approval that you have passed the exam and you can graduate now. If somebody doesn't give you that stamp of approval, you cannot get that diploma. Even though you know everything, you have to get that. You cannot get a transcript or a diploma with a bachelor's degree, master's degree, doctoral degree until the professors in the university certify you as having passed all the exams and you have given the diploma. Similarly, Bhagwan certifies the devotee. Okay, you are ready. You have passed everything that you need to pass. We are taking you out of Maya. Mam evaya prapadyante Maya metam tarantite. Bhagwan Krishna yahi kehte. Aisi adbhut baatein will continue next time. Okay, Hari Om.